Hello, this is Arthur giving a brief Tezos dev update on this February 25th, 2018. So as usual, there's a lot of background work happening in the code, um, refactoring, adding more tests, and I'm just going to focus on three changes that happened in the past week and explain what they are. So one change is a better script for launching the AlphaNet Docker. So as soon as we reset the AlphaNet, this will be the script that we'll be using, and we move from Shell to Python. The second one is an RPC that lets you query any key in the context. So in Tezos, we have this concept of a context, which I sometimes call a state, and essentially it represents the current state of the ledger, what the ledger is telling us. So that could be contracts, balances, roles, and all sort of information that's been conveyed by the blocks as they happen on the blockchain. And we have a lot of RPCs already that lets you query this state. So for example, you can query the balance of a contract, but sometimes maybe we're missing RPCs to describe certain part of the context. And so that RPC lets you query any part of the context you want. And so if you already have a call that exists that lets you get the information you want, you should use that. But if it doesn't exist, then you can always just query the keys directly and get that information out of the context. And the third change is, I was discussing last week that there's some I/O issues around cycles. At the end of a cycle, some nodes, especially if you're running with not enough RAM or maybe with a slow hard disks, some nodes are just going to do a ton of I/O operation. And part of that is due to our use of LevelDB, but also part of it is due to the way that we're doing role freezes. And so we now have in Masters a more efficient way of freezing roles. So the work that's continuing on right now, which is most important, is freezing the proof of stake algorithm with the right constants and with the right snapshots. There were a few changes introduced in the documentation compared to the implementation. And the second one is fixing gas costs in Michelson. And on my own, I've been working on Genesis block generation and on like introducing Genesis block with blinded values so that the keys can be redeemed one by one. In the meantime, I'm going to be traveling next week to the Trusted Smart Contract Conference, and I'll be posting the slides online as soon as I've given my talk. Thank you, and see you next week.